Hey guys, it's me again. Don't know if you can see, my lovely wife went inside to get a chair. Again, I've had, you can't see, but I've had about 4 home brews. I wanted to give you a quick tip on boiling. You see here again, you can change this right here to a stronger or a weaker flame. That will affect your boil. I know it's dark, but I'm going to try to get a shot of the boil in here. This is what you would probably call a hard boil in cooking. And that's what you want. You want a hard boil. Now, I noticed when you're dealing with... Now, if you're not dealing with these volumes, you're going to get a boil pretty easily. Your biggest risk is boiling over. Here, I have never had a boil over with an all grain in this setup. So, you don't have to worry about that so much, but you can get a really soft boil, and if you leave it at the flame setting that it's on, you're going to keep that soft boil. You want a hard boil. You want to turn that flame up just a bit, a little bit at a time. Turn up a little bit, wait a couple minutes. Turn up a little bit, wait a couple minutes, until you get what's called a hard boil. And you can almost see in there, see the water's really moving. It's really moving around there. You want to keep that hard boil. You don't want a soft boil where you just see a bubble here and there. You want that hard boil to really extract those hops flavors. Because the reason you have to boil it is the grains you will release all sorts of flavors that don't normally get released. And the hops as well. You will release a lot of those hops oil in a strong boil like this. So keep it a strong boil. And remember, you want a strong boil for the full hour. If you don't have a strong hard boil for the full hour, it's not going to stay the same. So, if you had a soft boil for 15 minutes, you're about to put your hops in, say, hey, wait a minute, I want a hard boil. Start your timer over again, do a hard boil for 15 more minutes, and then throw your hops in. So, just a little note about boiling. We're talking about a hard boil, not a soft boil. All right, and I will see you in 45 minutes my time, 0 minutes Facebook time. All right, thank you. Hello and welcome again. I know I said it would be 45 minutes. That wasn't exactly true. Here is a little brewer's secret. Now, in Germany, there's actually laws that say to be a true beer, you can only have malted barley, yeast, hops, and water. Well, there's all sorts of extra things called extracts or adjuncts that you can add to a beer to make it better. I'm not going to get into that because I don't have any of those right now. What I am going to add to my beer is 2 pounds of corn sugar. You may ask me, why do you use corn sugar? Well, corn sugar doesn't really improve the flavor. It doesn't really change the flavor at all. But it gives the yeast something extra to eat. I am always paranoid that even though I've done my conversion properly and everything, that I haven't got enough sugar out of the grain. So I give them a little booster with 2 pounds of corn sugar. Now you got to remember, if you're using corn sugar or any other corn sugar, keep it below 20% of the total grain bill, or how much grain you're using. Otherwise, it will give it a strange cidery flavor. Never use regular cane sugar, the stuff you buy in the store. That gives it a very strange cidery flavor, which is not good. I made the mistake myself, I'm passing it on. Use corn sugar, it's the consistency of powdered sugar.
Oh no!
You can drop it on the ground. My lovely wife's adorable laugh there. I'm just going to pour it in. You can pour this in any time. You could do it in the first couple minutes. You could do it in the last 5 minutes. Hardly matters. Doesn't matter at all. Stir it up real good. Keep the boil going. Remember, a hard boil. Stir a little more. There we go. Now, let me say a little bit more about corn sugar. I'll probably give you 2, 3, possibly 4, but I would guess 2 or 3% more alcohol by volume. Keep in mind, if you're doing a good all-grain brew, recipe you found on the internet, probably already 4% by volume. So if you add corn sugar, you're probably going to have a 7% by volume beer. If you want that, great. If you want to keep it 4%, I wouldn't do the corn sugar. There's something called the iodine test you can do before you put it to the boil. That'll tell you if you converted all the sugars. Now, personally, like I said earlier, my home brews are usually between 7 and 8%. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I use corn sugar. I like highly alcoholic beers. I just kind of think it's cool. Whatever, it doesn't matter if you want it or you don't, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're drinking this beer 2 weeks after you bottle it, corn sugar you're probably not going to notice if you keep it to 2 pounds in a recipe like this. If you let it age for 6 months, you may or may not notice the corn sugar. I don't know, I haven't tried, so I can't really say. I will say that I did one 5-gallon batch where I used regular cane sugar and it tasted cidery, which was very much not a good thing 6 months later. But that was cane sugar, not corn sugar, and I think it's the type of sugar that gave it that flavor. But again, I don't know exactly what the corn sugar is going to do in 6 months because I can't make beer last for 6 months. So it also kind of depends on how fast you drink it. Anyway, that is a secret tip to up your alcohol percent or your alcohol by volume. Probably gives you 3 or 4 more % by volume, but I throw that in most all of my batches, so I thought I'd pass it along. And I will see you in something less than 45 minutes.